Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Business Essentials. After a month off, we took a break in August to recharge our batteries, but we're back in full swing at the chamber and happy to see you all here. I'm really excited today to introduce Ram Tulasi. Did I pronounce that? How do you pronounce your last name, Ram?
It is Tulasi.
Okay, good. Tulasi, and he's a CEO and executive coach. He has about 22 years of experience in the corporate world. And after going through two very challenging times in history, with our economy, he saw a lot of his friends and colleagues being laid off, and I think we all know that that can be a very stressful situation. And he decided to make a big change in his life. So he became a coach, and he's going to talk to us today about expansive thinking and how we can get through these times maybe a little less stressed. So Ram's also a chamber founding member of our business resource consortium, which will be starting up very soon. You're going to hear about it because we are having a couple of fundraising events, and it will help people who have been laid off during this COVID time and hopefully get them back into work quickly. So with that, Ram, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. Just a quick, let me start sharing my screen over here, then we can start talking about it.
Yes, we ask that you stay muted during Ram's presentation. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat, and we'll do a Q&A at the end. Thank you so much.
Okay. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As everyone knows, that today's topic is about expansive thinking. Before we go there, I just want to tell something about myself. As Cheryl has beautifully introduced me, you can all call me Ram, and I call myself as an energy leadership coach. So the thing is all about energy leadership. This is based on energy action model. So based on quantum physics, where Einstein has said that, we're all surrounded by matter and we're all made up of energy. So there is energy all around us. And this energy is constantly having an impact on the way we think, the way we act. And that's the reason why this energy action model helps us in understanding what kind of energy blocks we are going through and how do we actually remove these energy blocks in order to perform better and have better results. So that's quickly about energy leadership. I will come back to it later at the end of it, but that's just a quick intro about myself and energy leadership. Now coming to expansive mindset. Now, people can call it as progressive thinking. I wouldn't want to use the word progressive because it feels more linear to me. Expansive is something which is growing or get larger. It is a multi-dimensional thinking that what we talk about. So in order to explain this better, what I will do is I will try and take an example of one of my recent client with whom I've been working since March. So they started working with me from the beginning of COVID. So it would be a beautiful example to discuss this expansive thinking. Before we start going forward, I just want to say that our thoughts and feelings are inseparable, and our thoughts lead to our feelings and our feelings lead to our actions. So that's just something I want you all to keep in mind. And before we go, I just want you all to take a quick 1 minute and just write down what is it that you would want to, what is that you're expecting to get out of our today's presentation or today's meeting. And after you know that what is it quickly that you're wanting to get out of it, what would be your measure of success that you have got those results? Okay. Now, coming to the story of my client, Before I start, I just want to mention that this client of mine is not based in United States. This client is outside of United States, and they came to me in the month of March. And when they came to me, they were talking about these problems or the challenges that they were facing. They're like, we need to pay $20,000 to the mall management people. We don't even have money coming to pay for our daughter's fee, and all malls are closed and we are not having any further income that's going on. We don't want to borrow money from our parents. We still have to pay for the property rentals wherever we are present, though it is COVID and things are all shut down. And we don't know how we will pay our employees. We have made some mistakes initially while signing some agreements, which are coming to bite us today. And they were scared for the future. Now, as I said, our thoughts and feelings are inseparable. Okay, if you would want to take 2 minutes and think about what are the kind of thoughts that are running in this client's minds of mine. They were completely scared. The thoughts are that of insecurity, and the feelings that they're going through because of these thoughts are anxiety, frustration, resentment, kind of a thing. Based on these thoughts and feelings, you can imagine what kind of actions they would have been taking. Uh, just quickly going to the next slide, which would talk about, I don't want to get into anatomy of brain, etc. But I just want to say, based on our emotions, our reactions happen. And our emotions are controlled by the emotional part of a brain called amygdala. And whenever amygdala is threatened, or whenever you feel scared or threatened about for anything, amygdala generally hijacks our entire thinking process. Our thinking process happens in neocortex, but there is a shortcut. So amygdala starts hijacking everything. Once amygdala hijacks our thinking process, there are only two things it tells. There is a danger. It's either you flight or you fight. So that's the situation that it brings us into. So, and to be very frank, the purpose of this amygdala or our emotional brain is to keep us safe. And that's what it does. It's brilliantly doing it. Whenever we feel scared, whenever we are feeling like, we are facing a danger, imagine it's your amygdala which is trying to keep you safe. Now, based on this emotion reactions and based on what I just told you about the story of my client, now if you want to look at what kind of thoughts and process or what kind of thoughts would be going through our mind, especially in flight and fight situation, these thought process are defined as performance avoidance, that is what happens when you're in a flight mode, or performance approach, that is fight mode. So performance avoidance, during this, the person's actions demonstrate and validate their abilities by avoiding to look incompetent or underperforming. This is a time when the person does not want to look competent. He does not want to look incompetent. He does not want to feel that he is underperforming. And these actions create a lot of anxiety and judgment. And when the person is trying to avoid being incompetent and underperforming, what are the kind of actions he would generally take? He would be procrastinating. The personality, if you look at it, this person's personality is low to zero self-confidence, uh, self-justifying, and looking for the reasons as to why the person has taken those kind of actions, and the person is trying to justify every action that person has taken. And the person is looking for confirmation and appreciation from others. So everything they're looking from outside, and they are generally in a flight mode. They don't want to face the world. They are feeling that they are victims of the situation. The second one, which we call as a performance approach, which is a fight mode, the actions in which, now this is a beautiful mode as a motivator, but then the actions in this also demonstrate and validate their abilities by achieving a specific outcome or outperform others. So this is the place where they're getting very competitive. They want to just fight and achieve what they want to achieve. And this can be, as I said, this approach can be useful as a motivator because it is dependent on one particular outcome. But then this is also associated with judgment. So when you start involving judgment into it, then there is a question of right or wrong, good and bad, and you start judging people. And this is also what we call as a short-term thinking. An individual is looking at only one step at a time and say, let me just address this. I don't want to bother about it. And the personality of this individual is more aggressive. This individual is dominating, he's opinionated, he's competitive, he's manipulative because he wants to get things done. He's trying to manipulate the time and the situation just to get his work done. So these two thought process is what I call it as a destructive mindset because they are short term. They're not looking at a long term picture of it. So the process to uh, get over this fight or flight mode, which is created by amygdala, and then moving into a situation where we are able to think constructively is what the process that we're going to discuss. And that's what I call as expansive thinking. And this process is simple 3 steps. I will be sharing a tool after the presentation is over so that you can utilize this tool at any time, whenever you want. The process involves neutralization, then the activation, and the third step is action. So when we talk about neutralization, this process is based on a concept that pain and gain are always together. Positives and negatives are always happening together. They are inseparable. They are just interpretations of how one perceives them. Now, when I say pain and gain are always together, this is a little difficult for people to understand. But if you look at it, anytime when you're facing a challenge, you're also having benefits which are coming out of it. So even in this time of pandemic, COVID, we all have seen personal losses, also business loss. But at the same time, if you look at the benefits of it, it's difficult to find when we are going through so much of problem to look at the positives. But then if we force ourselves to look at positives of it, maybe this is the quality time that we got to spend and take a stock of the situation that what we are going through. Or this is a time when it is forcing us to be a lot more creative and innovative so that we can look at how the business can be expanded in a different way than the way that we currently know or the way that we've been doing. And similarly, if you also look at some students who are really scared of writing tests, and if they're getting into college admissions, now SAT becoming optional is such a blessing for them. They don't have to write SAT. So if we start forcing ourselves to start looking at positives, we find positives as well as negatives, but these are completely based on how we are perceiving the challenge, how we are looking at it. So in order to neutralize it, the 2 questions that you need to ask yourself is how the problem, the challenge, or the situation. Now, it can also be an individual who has caused this pain for you. So whether it's a challenge, situation, or individual has actually benefited you. Take out time, spend as much time as you can, see how this whole situation has benefited you, and write down 20 to 30 benefits that you got out of this particular situation, which are positive. Then identify 20 to 30 ways, what could have happened to you if this specific situation or individual performed as per your expectation. What wrong could have happened if it all went as per what you thought through? The person behaved the way you wanted, but then what are the negatives? What are the specific negatives it would have had on you? They can be like, if it's an individual, maybe the learning process that you had is something which you lost. So if you spend time and write down these 20 benefits and 20 to 30 negatives or that could have gone wrong if situation went as per our expectation, it neutralizes the situation. So in any situation, any challenge, there is both pain and gain. They're always together. The positives and negatives are always happening together. So if you're able to spend time and do this, you neutralize the situation. Once you neutralize it, you can go to the next step, which I call as an activation process. Now, this is a place where I would want all of you to connect once again with the core purpose of your business, your why. If I ask you the question, what's the purpose of your business other than profit? What would that be? What is the core purpose of your business other than making profits? connect with that core purpose, the purpose with which you actually started your business. Identify 30 to 50 reasons what your customers value you for. And then visualize 20, 30 years from today when this whole situation is gone by and somebody asks you, or you see an article written about your company in your most favored magazine. What do you want to see? What do you want to see written about your company over there? Or if someone asks you 20, 30 years as to how did you face these challenges, what would you want to tell them? Visualize. What actions are you willing to take today for that visualization that you had? Define by when you want to take the actions and how you would want to go hold yourself accountable for the actions. Also define what kind of resources that you would need to take those actions. And you will be able to think about all these things provided you have neutralized the situation and you are actually in activation mode. That's when you know what kind of resources. The minute you start thinking about the resources, etc., we start thinking about what can be taken. So previously, when I was talking about the mindset, that where we were talking about the performance avoidance mindset and the performance approach thought process that we were talking about, those are the ones which are based on the effect. I have written over there the effect based thought process. When I say effect based, now there is a cause, there is an effect. Now, this is a situation where we are looking at the end result, and the end result generally overwhelms us. And sometimes we want to experience the end result, and that's the reason we sometimes forget about what are the kind of actions that we need to take. So once we neutralize the situation, then we can move towards something called as an expansive mindset thought process, and which is cause based. That means what is it that is causing the end result? The people who are in this thought process, in this approach, are the people who are thinking about what is it that I need to take as an action today, which can lead to the expected results for future. And the person who is doing this is called as a mastery approach, and the actions that are designed are to increase one's competency, understanding, and the long-term success. Mastery approach is not dependent on particular outcome, because the individual, when he's in mastery approach, he is thinking about learning and growth. Even he's not even going to be judgmental about the actions to be taken, because for every action, he's going to say, whatever the result is, either I'm going to have a learning and I'm going to grow from it. So, and the entire focus is on the actions that needs to be taken. So this is actually a process oriented approach. And when the person is in a process oriented phase, the person is calm and steady, he's in control, he is progressive and expansive thinking, he is sorted, he's action oriented, non-judgmental, and a leader whom people would like to follow. So today, now that it's been 6 months since I've been working with my client, and after 6 months, if you look at it, these are the kind of discussions that we have today. Today, they talk to me about the customer happiness and the appreciations that they're getting from the customers. Now, let me tell you, even in this pandemic time, they have been really creative and innovative, that they have started doing the business and they're having their income, which is helping them. They're really happy that they're able to think through. So they talk today to me about the customer happiness and appreciation that they're receiving, the responses that they're receiving from the customers. So they're looking at what kind of messages the customers are talking about them. They talk to me about the changes that they want to do to the packaging of the material that they're delivering to their consumer. They're talking about the innovative solutions they have already implemented for customer satisfaction. They talk to me about the new products that they're planning to introduce in the new way of business that they're doing. They talk to me about business expansion ideas, the strategies of execution, and they're talking about learning from the past mistakes. So where I've told you that they made some past mistakes around signing some agreements, etc. So they learned from that. They went and hired a legal advisor with whom they're discussing as to how they can mitigate those mistakes and also not repeat those things. Now, they had these resources with them because they were in flight mode. They're not able to think about the resources that they had. And moving from the flight and fight mode to a progressive thinking, Now they're able to think through that, how can we mitigate the problem that we already created? That's actually one of the much bigger problems than the $20,000 that they had to pay to the mall owners. But now they're able to think through the new initiatives that they can implement. They're also started looking for mentors who can mentor them, and also the business resources, how they can expand their business. So that's purely about expansive thinking. It is just the three-step process. One, talking about neutralizing the situation. Now, that is the most difficult part of it. Going from neutralization, going to activation phase, where we are connecting to our purpose. Generally, when we face challenges, our purpose is uh, lost. We generally start getting focused on the end result part of it, not looking at actions to be taken. And as the protective mind, it's its role to protect us, so it does that. So once you neutralize these two things, then you know what kind of actions that you need to take. It's better to define how you want to go about taking them, and how do you want to hold yourself accountable, so that the protective mind does not keep coming back and stopping you from taking those steps. Now, coming to the energy leadership, as I said, I would talk about it at the end of it. Uh, this is a concept which is based on energy action model, built on the concept that we are all made up of energy, and energy levels that we are experiencing lead to our actions. Energy is intangible component of leadership, and it is the backdrop of our mindset. Our energy is neither in the past, it's either in the past or in the present. In any area of our life, our thoughts may be affected by our past experiences, neutral, painful, or pleasure, which would then shape our current view. So it's based on these experiences that either we're looking in the future, based on that, we look at the way that we want to act today, or we're looking at the past and trying to see how we are acting today. But this neutralizes and makes us think how we need to look at the current situation. And by understanding and mastering energy, one would learn to shift to the highest level of energy and capitalize on their true current potential and perform at their peak. And there are various levels of energy. We'll just go through that. And at the highest level, which we call as the seventh level of energy, the greatness and success are no longer products of chance, but an inevitable result of that energy, because you're. So if you have all experienced, or we would have heard about this, being in flow, that is a time when your 100% energy is involved in taking the action. So that's what we call as when you are in the flow, when you are not bothered, when the time and matter, everything becomes one. That's a time when your results are 100% focused. And these are, if you look at it, this chart talks about the various levels of energy. The basically first two, the 1 and 2, are your flight and fight mode. The one, if you look at the energy, talks about apathy. This is where you are feeling that you are a victim of situations. The second one is the fight mode. And then from there, if you start moving slowly away from these energies, you see 3, 4, and 5, where you are neutralizing the whole situation. And energy 6 and 7 are the place where your transcendence, self-transcendence kind of a thing. So there is an assessment called as ELI, which is an energy leadership indexing assessment that can help one understand their energetic makeup. And ELI can also help in understanding the organization's energetic makeup. And understanding of one's energy can help in conscious choice of energetic presentation. So this helps in actually understanding what is coming as an influence or what is impacting our energy. So as I said, there is energy all around us and it's impacting our thought process. So this makes us conscious about what kind of influences we are having externally on the energies, and also talks about what are our inner energy influences which are actually blocking our energy, and this helps us in moving forward. That's about me and our today's presentation. And just before we go, I wanted to say that you're not alone in this unpredictable, fast evolving times. We want to assure you that you're not alone. And whenever you want an unbiased, non-judgmental discussion or a perspective, please feel free to contact me. That's my mail ID and my mobile number. And this is a bit about us. And we are a group of seasoned business professionals, coaches, and management consultants, thinkers, executioners, and optimists who are committed to small business. And we have been committed to our mission for the past 5 years. We believe in building enduring organizations that stand test of time and continually renew themselves from within. Thank you so much. So now I can leave it for question and answers. And I just wanted to say that I'll be sharing a tool, which is just a 2-pager questionnaire, which can help you to neutralize the situation and activate and move into the new process of expansive thinking. I hope that will be helpful for all of you. Thank you so much. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, this is Pauline. Feel free to unmute if you have a question. Didn't see anything in the, they asked if your slides will be shared.
Yes.
So we're going to send out the tool, the slides, and then where the replay is posted. So I will send that out to everybody attending. Hopefully later today.
I'm sorry, this has been pretty quick. I had to condense an 3-hour presentation into half an hour. So if you had any questions, please feel free. Otherwise, generally we do it as an exercise so people experience how this whole thing works.
All right, any questions? No, Kelly. Cheryl has a question.
Cheryl?
Yes, so I just went through probably one of the most difficult years of my life. I had 4 deaths in my family, very close together. The COVID thing happened, and I had a very a relationship that was very challenged. And how do I take that energy now? Because I felt all of those emotions that you were talking about, the fight and flight and wanting to put the covers over my head on some days. How can I take that now, use that energy so I can make my work life better, myself better, and help others?
So it's firstly, let me, it's really painful that you had to go through all this thing. Let me acknowledge that part of it. It's really challenging when you're going through so many challenges to be positive and think positive. And with all that, what you're doing is a great work that you're doing at Chamber. Let me congratulate you for that. And you have been a strong woman, Cheryl. You've been a strong lady after going through all that, and you're willing to face it. So what I would like to help you here is first try to go through the questions that I asked in the questionnaire, the tool that has been given. Spend some time in trying to understand, had the situations been the way you wanted them to be, what kind of drawbacks it would have had on you. It will take some time. And similarly, what benefits did you get out of the way the situations have actually panned out? Now, it's a rough relationship. What is it teaching you? What is it telling you? It may take some time. It is painful. It's difficult to see those positives, but you will have to take out some time to spend on the neutralization process. Unless until you neutralize that energy block that is blocking, it's difficult to start moving it anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So
Thank you.
try it. If you're
I'm
not
going
able
to
to
try
do
that
it,
exercise. I am.
yeah. If you're not able to do it, I'm always there. You have my number. We can meet up and we can discuss on this anytime.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions for Ram?
I just wanted to say hello. Am I unmuted?
Yes,
Yes,
you are.
Yes.
sir, you are.
Okay. So Ram, we met at the BRN
Yes,
one.
we
You
did.
came to the group and you talked to us all, I think. And then that was maybe last year or something
Yes.
like that.
I have been a little busy with the various clients and the mornings are getting blocked. So I still wanted to become one of the members of BRN. So I'm still waiting for the right time.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just saying it was great to see you again because we met
It
at
is,
the
Ray.
BRN. That's
Pleasure
all.
to meet you.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Yeah, great. Any other questions or comments? There's some thank yous and great presentation comments in the chat. Super interesting.
Thank
Oh
you
yeah,
so much.
you're very in line with what Alana does. Alana, did you want to introduce yourself?
No, I said thank you so much for giving this opportunity, and I hope this tool is useful to all of you.
Okay, Kelly has a
And-
question.
Yeah, please. Hi, Kelly, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay, hi. Yeah, thank
Hi.
you. I've just, I'm actually just about finishing my IPEC study, so I'm excited. I just wanted to join. I had gotten an alert and wanted to see what you had to say, so thank you for sharing that. And I love your approach and the language you use. The question I'm trying to understand is, can you tell me a little bit more about, when you go through the questions, but specifically related to, if the situation had gone the way you wanted, what are the, what are some of the drawbacks? Can you just explain that a little bit more? And maybe I just want to make sure I got it right and then explain that a little more.
Oh,
if you
yes.
don't mind.
So when we say if the situation has happened as per what you expected it to go through, okay? Or when you imagine pandemic did not happen, and let me go back to the same client's example that I was talking about. Had they not faced with the pandemic, we had this discussion. I said, what would have been loss for you, or what kind of drawbacks you would have had? When we started discussing, getting deeper into it, that agreements that they have signed, those agreements were actually biting them back. They were actually forced to shut down most of the business. Had the pandemic not come into place, they would have been anyway forced to shut the business. And second thing, they were also facing that they were not able to think differently because they were so occupied with their existing way of running the business. They were not able to think creatively as to how can they expand their business. So they were present in malls, they're more like a brick and mortar. Today, all of a sudden, they started thinking, how can we be present in FMCG stores? How can we directly approach our clients? So the thought process has completely changed. So this, like, if had you not been impacted by pandemic, what kind of drawbacks you would have had?
Okay.
It's difficult for them to think at first go, but you can, as any coach, because you're there in IPAC, you can understand that you have to probe them and you have to challenge them to think through, and you will be able to get the answers from that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I love that question because it's just a whole different way of looking, like, oh, everything would have been fine. Nah, I don't think so. Let's really talk about what the realities are. And so you're saying, so that it will help them think bigger. Like, no, I still would have had these 3 challenges facing my business. So therefore I need to be thinking bigger, always thinking in the future. Is that kind of right? Am I getting it?
It's more about, it's a learning, it's a gains, and it's learning and growth. Nowhere I was talking about the end result. Think about the future, but think about the process that will help you be there. You're always the process led. You are nowhere focused on the end result part of it.
Okay, thank you.
And all the best.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Alana put it in chat. She's got a lot of construction going on in her house, but she works with people through grief and loss. And she uses a similar tool called emotional energy checklist.
Wow,
So this
that's
is
nice.
powerful. She's excited to explore your tool.
My pleasure. I would like to explore her tool as well.
Yeah. She's a member of the BRN, one of the BRNs.
So Pauline, would you like to announce our upcoming events?
Oh, we have so many. How long do I have? No. But our next Business Essentials is Tuesday at the same time, 10 o'clock. And we have one of our board members, Mitch Williams, speaking. And he's speaking about the Climate Change Reality Project. So this is the one that was associated with Al Gore. And that should be very, very interesting. And then on Thursday, we have one of our newer members. He's on the call, Noam Pitzker. He's a financial advisor. So he will be speaking at 10 o'clock and sharing some of his insights, how to support the small businesses, some of the challenges that small businesses have. And we have an exciting event going on Wednesday. You know, for those of that have been with the chamber. We used to have business after hours on the second Tuesday of the month where we network at our members' facilities. So we can't get together and network, but what we've done is created a DIY cocktail party, partnering with Pinstripes. If you register by Monday, they will actually provide you a little kit to make your cocktail along with them on Wednesday. And then we'll do breakout sessions for networking after that. So that ought to be fun. The cocktail kit is complimentary from Pinstripes. So please do register by Monday. That's next week. We've got lots coming up. Did you want to tell them about the special one coming up yet?
Well, yes, I'll make an announcement. So Ram and I, along with probably about 10 or 15 other professionals, formed a group called the San Mateo Chamber Business Consortium. And the idea was to help small businesses. Because oftentimes people will start something, they're excited, but they don't really know the steps or the tools. They have, they kind of get mixed up. Maybe they are not doing a really solid marketing plan, or their financials are not, familiar with budgeting and finance, which is really a huge thing. So we thought we would put together this resource group for our members to use, and you will not be charged, but we have a beautiful office now that we are going to get set up as a place where people can come and talk to one of our professionals and get some help, some direction on how to get your business back on track. And this all happened before COVID. So since then, it's been really difficult to meet, but we are having a meeting on Tuesday. And so with the two things, City Council candidate Lisa Nash, she's having a fundraising event for her birthday, and she's going to donate 10% of the proceeds towards the opening of our business center. And then we are also going to do something fun. We thought, we needed to kind of give everybody a little boost. So we're going to host a San Mateo County Has Talent. And we are calling on all people from ages 2 to 99 who can either sing, dance, juggle, hula, magic, comedy, whatever it is. You can apply to sign up for the talent show. We will review the tapes. You have to send in a tape along with that. And then we will select the top 10. Those top 10 will perform again. And then 5 people will be selected for the final night, which will be semi-live. And there will be cash prizes involved for the first, second, and third place winner. So we're really excited about it. And that's a fundraiser for this business resource center. And I think it'll be fun as well. So watch out for that, because we're putting together the applications now.
Yeah, so that ought to be a lot of fun. And check the newsletters. We have grub gatherings once a month. Next one is at Fish Market towards the end of this month. Next month we'll be at Par 3. And we also have a drive-in movie night coming up with Par 3. So lots of activities, staying socially distant, but together. Thank you so much for joining us today. I will send a follow-up out later today. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.